This is NAIA Football with Dannelly and Donley. Film review of NAIA football games is brought to you by Huddle. Huddle connects us with the teams so we can see all the coaches' game film and give you in-depth analysis on NAIA football. This program also airs on the Urban Edge Network. Download the Urban Edge Network app for all the NAIA championship events, regular game days, and a whole lot more. You can see all of the NAIA on the Urban Edge Network. Download the app now. This program is part of all the great coverage on the VictorySportsNetwork.com for all the latest in NAIA football and other sports. Check out VictorySportsNetwork.com.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is John Gruden, the old coach, down here in Tampa, Florida, just studying some football. And I just got to tell you, there is nobody covering NAIA football like the Victory Sports Network. Nobody. They've been doing it for over 20 years, and they know how great football is at this level. Now let's get going. Here is NAIA football with Dannelly and Donnelly. Let's go.
NAIA football is the true version of what college football is supposed to be. And it is the best classroom experience an 18 to 22-year-old male can have. One of the most valuable parts of a college education is that experience. It's life in a microcosm, and it's just something special for a young man to have to experience.
And don't you let a moment go without thinking about what's there for you to reach out and grasp.
Welcome into another week of NAIA football with Dannelly and Donley. I'm Jason Dannelly. We're jam-packed with NAIA football tonight as Mr. Pat Donley is standing by to join me momentarily. Don't forget, folks, you can hit us up in the comments all night long, whether you're on YouTube or Twitter or Facebook. We'll answer your questions. We'll get to them in a little bit. But first thing that we've got to do is, well, frankly, we've got to get through some of the games that happened, some of those under-the-radar games in NAIA football before we get to the featured action in the NAIA. Cumberland, Bethel, you look at it, Cumberland comes away, big victory over a top 25 team. Drew Gregg, 198 yards passing and 2 touchdowns in that game. Pikeville and Bluefield. Bluefield gets the 43-40 victory. Ethan Cash, 334 yards through the air and 3 touchdowns. Hastings gets the last-minute victory over Mount Marty, a 40-yard field goal with 1 second left to win it in Yankton, South Dakota, as Hastings comes away with the victory. Union, 32-28 over Kentucky Christian. Dominic Jones Jr., 16-yard pass from Cooper Wick with 32 seconds left to win that one. Then you've got St. Xavier and St. Francis, one of the great rivalries in the Mid-States Football Association. It comes all the way down to the waning seconds of the game. 28 seconds left. St. Xavier gets an offsides called on St. Francis. They decide to go for 2, and they get stuffed. St. Francis wins at 28-27. St. Ambrose, Zaire Wilcox, 161 yards rushing and a touchdown in that 47-14 victory. Onward we go with more games flying under the radar. Graceland, what happened? Peru State, what happened? 31-19. Graceland comes away with the victory. Javon Minor, 119 yards rushing. Bethany over Bethel, 25-14. Natavius Johnson, 14 carries for 116 yards and 2 touchdowns. Midland and Dort. Dort led 17-7 late, but then Midland scores with 1:55 to play in the game. The onside kick didn't happen. Dort recovered it, and they basically wound out the clock to win that game. Then you've got Tabor and Ottawa. Ottawa scores 36 seconds left in the game, a 30-yard pass to Key Long to get the victory there. Rocky Mountain, 28-7 in the third quarter. Brock Ping, 11 carries, 102 yards and a touchdown in their victory over MSU Northern. And that's significant because Rocky stays undefeated in conference play. And then Faulkner over Lindsey Wilson. Tay Saunders, 17 carries, 162 yards and 2 touchdowns in the victory for the Blue Raiders. And with that said, as I punch buttons here and apparently the wrong things happen, let's bring in Mr. Pat Donley. Pat, had a slew of good games to start things off there. Good to talk to you again this week, buddy.
Likewise, Jason. You know, it's not really Halloween. Halloween's this Friday, but there was some crazy games, like kind of like funny things happened yesterday. some upsets, some games that, teams that have kind of been hot, kind of laid an egg yesterday, vice versa. It was kind of a weird day. Some games we didn't think, not to be that guy, because we had a huge week last week with big time games, huge implications, kind of first week of conference play, national implications, all those things. And it wasn't really a huge list of games like that this week, but it ended up being really some really great games, competitive games to talk about. So, kind of a surprise in that regard, but we've got a lot to talk about once again, where we didn't really think we were going to have that, maybe, kind of looking at the predictions, going into it. So interesting week, Halloween week, kind of weird. Some of the things, how it shook out. Some odd ones. Still can't figure out some of these teams, Jason. Peru State, head scratcher, can't figure them out. St. Xavier, can't figure them out. St. Francis sometimes can't figure them out.
Yeah.
It's just kind of all over the place.
We'll talk about it when we get into the top 25 here, but I kind of start to see, as the season is go on, we've kind of got three levels that we're talking about in the top 25. The elite, the teams that have shown they're postseason worthy, but maybe are a little inconsistent, and then teams that are, man, on their best day, they could compete with anybody in the NAIA, but on an average day, like some boneheaded dumb things are happening out there. And but we'll get into that here in just a little bit. One that I wanted to point out from the first grouping of games there was Bethel's loss to the University of the Cumberlands, 34-10. I was actually really surprised the NAIA coaches put Bethel in the top 25, not because they weren't deserving, but I didn't feel like they had proved enough against some of the top competition in NAIA football, and really just with their schedule to get into the top 25 yet. So I didn't put them in because I really felt like, well, they need to beat the University of Cumberlands for me to consider they're going to be top 25 team. Guess what? They didn't. And here we sit now 24 hours later going, well, maybe we were right on that. So with that said, let's get into the best games, the top games, the featured games in NAIA football. Starting first down south, and really what was about the first game of the day yesterday, I think it was noon Eastern kickoff, so I was watching at 11 o'clock my time. Southeastern and St. Thomas. Southeastern goes on the road. They get the victory 23-17. They outgained St. Thomas. Nate Michael, 203 yards passing. He had a touchdown, 2 interceptions, though. We'll talk about that here momentarily. Curtis Kimmons, 19 carries for 70 yards and 2 touchdowns. Watson had 212 through the air. David Haynes, 98 yards passing and a touchdown. Pat, you watched this game. You kind of went through it again today. It got a little ugly in there because of how the turnovers happened and when those turnovers happened.
Yeah, I mean, both these teams are incredibly athletic. They've got playmakers on both sides. They are fast, no question. I think Nate Michael is an exciting player, one of the most exciting players in the NAIA. I mean, he is that true dual threat guy. I mean, he's one of those guys, Jason, we've talked about him before, where, he's dropping back to pass. He doesn't have something available. He can take off and he can score from anywhere on the field. I mean, he's that legitimate speed guy, probably 4.6 40 or sub 4.6. He can outrun the entire defense. He runs exceptionally well. Great athlete. And they obviously have quarterback design runs, option game, things of that nature. He's incredibly exciting. And Watson, I'm a huge fan of as well. He has been a veteran quarterback for St. Thomas. So getting into some of the things of the game, I think they were both exciting teams, no question about it. But it was kind of a turnover fest in the second quarter, going into half. And I will give credit to both defenses. You see secondary play, jumping in front of routes, making some big time plays. Some balls getting tipped in the air and defenders making plays on batted balls for interceptions. So it was kind of a turnover fest, a fumble. I think there was 3 turnovers in the last 5 or 6 minutes of the second quarter, Jason. So kind of back and forth in that regard. And then you kind of see Southeastern, in the third quarter just say, you know what, we're going to get kind of, methodical in our approach. It was an 85-yard drive, I want to say, Jason, in the third, and grinding out some time, good mixture of run and pass, but very methodical in their approach. A lot of Michael, using his legs, controlled passing game, using the bootleg game, things of that nature, really utilizing his strengths well. They put together a tremendous drive and put that score in. But I think that is Southeastern football, their offense of being, very balanced and relying on the dual threat nature of Nate Michael, who is a dynamic player. So This was an interesting game. Again, you see the athletes on both sides, playmaking ability, but both teams got some things to still iron out. Incredibly athletic, incredibly exciting teams. But I'm not sure they're complete teams quite yet on the level of a Kaiser is what I'm getting at in the Sun Conference. And we kind of talked about that prior. But yeah, Southeastern now is in that, I want to call it driver's seat because obviously Kaiser's that one, which they still have to play. But you have a situation where, Southeastern's in the position now to make the postseason as that number 2. Obviously have a head-to-head coming up, but
yeah,
that's wrong Kaiser for me. In that matter.
Yeah, I think Kaiser, from what we've seen this year, is proved to be the best in the Sun Conference. I think Southeastern, with this win today and just how they've looked kind of throughout the rest of the season, despite their loss to Florida Memorial, I still think they're the second best team in this conference. And what they showed us yesterday is, they can grind out a victory against a pretty good team, and they did that. I think both of these teams, like you said, there's questions. We've kind of questioned St. Thomas's rushing attack all year, and Southeastern, a little bit on the pass. They've been a pretty solid running team most of the time this year, but those little inconsistencies still kind of pop up and make me think, well, are they quite ready for prime time yet? Maybe not, but we still have several weeks of the season left, plus postseason where teams can continually improve, and Southeastern's got the horses to be able to do that.
No question. Yeah, and again, when you have a dynamic player like Nate Michael, and I do think the world of him, Jason, I think he keeps getting better and better the more we watch him, more comfortable and getting more experience and playing at this level. He's a dynamic player, and especially with a dual threat style, you can win a lot of games with players like that. And he's a guy that can score from anywhere. And you can just see, Jason, if something's not there, he can take off and get you crucial first downs to keep the chains moving. And he can certainly do that. He is exciting.
The thing I look at, we go to, anytime we talk about the Sun Conference, Kaiser comes up. We're talking Southeastern, St. Thomas. Good comment here. Kaiser starting to get their groove. Defense playing great. Shea Spencer, maybe the best quarterback in the NAIA with very strong receiving cores. They're now going to play for the Sun Championship in 2 weeks. Yeah, don't disagree with that. I think, that's the difference where, you have a great offensive and defensive line that's got some depth and a quarterback that makes extremely smart decisions. That's the difference between being a team that you and I are looking at saying, well, yeah, they're the best team in the conference, and we still got a little bit of work to do. Like they're just a little bit away between Southeastern and St. Thomas. We move on. Our primetime performance in this game, going to give it to Curtis Kimmons. Running back for Southeastern, 19 carries, 70 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Our primetime performance from Walgreens. Moving on to this one, I watched a lot of this game, Pat. I felt like it was a well-played game. I'll speak about something that's not football related first. Olivet Nazarene, your facility, your stream, mwah, beautiful. I mean, anybody looking at how we should structure a broadcast for an NAIA football game, I would put Olivet Nazarene now as one of those ones, Pat, that we would say, yeah, watch those guys. They know how to do it. Good replays that they'd have, great camera angles. That facility is just absolutely beautiful, pops off the screen. With that said, Olivet Nazarene played a really good game yesterday, but Marian University just a little bit better. And we thought they were a little bit better. They proved that in this game. Tristan Polk, 228 yards passing, 11 rushing yards, had a score there. Keegan LaBelle did not get loose running the ball. He did have 3 touchdowns. His 14th consecutive game where he has scored a touchdown for the Marian Knights, but he didn't have a lot of yards. Christian Dew-Reed, he looked dynamic as a quarterback, 30 for 48, 368 yards, 3 touchdowns. He played very well in this game, and Volgeman had 106 yards receiving as well. He looked good. I came away from this saying Marian is a good team. I'm moving them up a little bit more in my top 25. I'm not punishing Olivet Nazarene for this loss. They were right in it. Marian, got a score to kind of extend things out right in the waning minutes of this game. And then Olivet Nazarene was driving through an interception, at the end of the game there. I came away from this not thinking any less of Olivet Nazarene and still thinking this is a team that could be in the postseason, Pat.
I'm just going to say this, Jason. I have not seen Olivet play since week 1 when they had the lead against Taylor had the big lead against them. They came back and beat Taylor. I've not seen them since then. And I think the world of them, Jason. I think they're the second best team in this division of the Mid-States Football Association. I think they're a step ahead of St. Francis. I think they're a step ahead of St. Xavier right now, in my opinion, just from what I've watched. Now, these teams have to play head to head. I understand that. One's coming up this next week, big game. But I'm telling you what, Drew Reed, what a player. I think he's fantastic. I mean, really good. I think Vogelman, heck of a player. Like you talk about a great broadcast and facility, they got a football program to match that, Jason. Where I'm telling you right now, and this is not to disparage all of it, Nazarene. I've got friends and family that have gone to the institution, and it's a great place. They were terrible in football for many years, Jason. I mean, really bad. I mean, they had a team that played the national championship in 1998, and they went about 25 years of just awful football.
Yeah,
and they're getting back into this now and being quite competitive, and they have a very, very good football team right now and a program they can be proud of. And I'm telling you, there's alumni out there that are. It's important to them now, and you can see there's a focus. They're really good, Jason. I don't disagree with you at all. They're a playoff level type team. There's some things to certainly improve upon. At the same time, I'm looking at personnel where, Jason, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, I'm coaching against these guys. I mean, Jason, it's like, we can score, name our score. We can score whatever we want. And we were putting freshmen in the game in late in the third quarter, and they're still scoring. I mean, it was a joke. I mean, we were a pretty darn good football team back then. But it's come light years. And I'm happy for that institution, that program. They've done a tremendous job. And that's a good football team. And I was so impressed. I will say this for Marion, made more plays when they had a kick return for a touchdown. So impressed with Polk, made some really crucial throws, with pressure in his face, making a throw that he had to. Really impressed with a kid named Aiden Waters, a kid I recruited out of Northeast Indiana that didn't do a very good job recruiting because he went to Marion. But he's down there, made 2 huge catches to put the Knights inside the red zone in the third and fourth quarter. I thought was huge. LaBelle is still so good in the red zone, JC. It's hard to tackle in the red zone.
Yeah.
I know he didn't get loose, but man, he is a force inside the 5-yard line. Can't tackle.
He finds a small hole and he's able to get himself put through there, and forward motion keeps going for a guy that's not an overpowering, 235-pound bruiser inside the 5. Like he's finding a hole and slipping through it.
Tough dude. Yeah. So, I think if you kind of boil things down, I think it was a great football game. Well coached, well played. It was physical. Both teams, I thought, played very well. And you can kind of see it initially early in the game, Jason. I'm watching this as I'm driving to Detroit for a hockey game yesterday. Anyway, I was watching this, and I think Marion kind of had that. They just, blew out their rival last week. They were a little bit slow to come out. Then they caught back up, and I thought they played very, very well. Middle of the second quarter and the second half played very well. I thought Marion did. Coach Karras and staff did a tremendous job getting them rolling. But I thought all of that just threw punches all day. And I really tip my cap to those guys. I thought they played exceptionally hard and had a great game plan. Just when it got down to it, Marion just made a few more plays. But this could have gone either way, Jason. I mean, you can see it's back and forth. Just when Marion would go ahead, late in the third, early in the fourth, all that came back and matched it. I mean, it was back and forth. Yep. Like you kept thinking Marion's going to take over this thing, with their history, and it's a pretty darn good roster, a good football team. You kind of think they're going to take this thing over and get an extra score, make it a 2-score game. All of that would come back and answer. I mean, it was really a great football game and well coached and well played, and couldn't be happier for both of these programs because they're really, really good.
Yeah,
and,
they are
happy for all of that. For sure.
Yeah, I'm extremely happy for both these teams too, because I think it showed, okay, Marion can go on the road. They can beat a talented team in the NAIA, and they've got control of their division now. I think with all of it, Nazarene, it showed like, hey, this is a really good football team that just competed against a Marion team that's in the top 10. And, if they play 10 times, it's probably not 5-5, but it's 6-4, 7-3. All of it, Nazarene's got chances to win those games. One last thing I want to say before we move on to the next game, I've been very impressed with the evolution of Tristan Polk as a quarterback for Marion. I remember watching him a year ago, the Lawrence Tech game, where Marion had to pull it out in the waning minutes of that game to get the victory, and kind of watching some of the early decisions that he made. And he had just become a starter really at that time. Last year was his first year starting, and watching his evolution through last year and this year, really turning into a quality, efficient quarterback for the Marion Knights. They get the win. They could be moving up in the top 25 of NAIA football. Going to give our primetime performance to a defender in this game, Cade Hausman from Marion. 8 solo tackles, 2 assists, and a tackle for loss in this game. Our Panera Bread primetime performance coming from the Marion Knights. All right, We go to the KCAC in a game that was much hyped, much talked about last week. And I think in our brain of brains that we have for NAIA football here collectively, kind of went the way that we thought it would go if Friends held onto the football early, didn't turn the ball over, and played Friends football. They jump out to a 21-0 lead. They give up a couple scores to Southwestern, and then it was just kind of a cat and mouse game. The rest of the game, like Southwestern would get a little close, and Friends would have a couple things happen, and they'd score here, score there, and just never allowed Southwestern to get close enough to be a threat after the first quarter of this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's Friends football. I mean, they're going to run the system. To jump out to a 21-point lead is absolutely huge in that system, because then you can kind of methodically run that system, get your score quarter, and you're just going to outpace people. And that's what they do. That's their mode of operation. I mean, that's their game plan pretty much each and every week. And we kind of thought Southwestern had a puncher's chance because they can score points. And they did to some level. I mean, you're like, was it been 28-14 and a half? And I think they would have been happy, staying within that range to some level. But then, Friends just keeps pace. They just keep running that system and running it well and grinding out drives and shorten the game. You look at a Friends game, Jason, typically because of the system, because the ball's on the ground so much, the clock keeps moving. The games don't seem very long. Your opportunities, if you're an offense playing against that system, you don't get many of them, and you really have to make them work. Those defenses are really stressed to get the ball back for the offense, because that option system will grind and grind and grind. And next thing you know, it's like, we haven't touched the ball yet, and the quarter's half over. I mean, that stuff happens against Friends and that system. So that's their reason for success, is they run the system so well. They're 8-0. They don't allow people to have too many opportunities, and they run it exceptionally well. They've got a great group of coaches and players that are a real threat to this affiliation, because everyone wants, I'm going to say it, everyone wants no part of Friends University, especially now in the league. Obviously, they're a pain, and they're going to be even greater pain for the postseason. I will tell you that.
And the other thing that we talk about a lot with Friends, with that great offensive system, they've got a great defense as well. They held Jamie Odom to 212 yards passing and a touchdown. Matthew Holthusen got a little loose, 115 yards and a couple scores. But, really for the most part, that Friends defense, when you can jump out to a 21-0 advantage, that means there's been at least 3 possessions where you held Southwestern down to getting nothing, and you're able to extend things out there. So a nice win by Friends University to stay undefeated right now, looking like at least half ahead above everybody else in the KCAC. Cavante Baker gets our primetime performance in this game. The quarterback had 20 carries for 89 yards, 4 total touchdowns. He was 2 for 4 passing for 2 touchdowns and 50 yards. So it's not too shabby there.
Cavante's chucking it around, baby. I love it. 2 touchdown passes.
I believe I was watching the game. I think he probably technically had another reception, but there was a penalty called on the play. I think there was a hold and it got called back. Otherwise he would have been 3 for 5.
2 touchdown passes, right? That's a big day for Cavante. That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. 4 passes.
4 passes, 2 touchdowns. That's huge.
What's Terry Harrison thinking throwing the ball that much? It's insane.
Really open it up. I love it.
Grandview, here was one that surprised us just a little bit. Mid-American Nazarene, on the strength of getting 2 turnovers from Grandview University in the first quarter, quickly goes up 14-0 in this game, and they hold that lead. They hold Grandview down for a little bit, but Grandview just kind of that methodic, grinding, worked their way through the game, and then came away with the 32-28 victory. This was a great game down to the end, and one that I think both you and I will say, yeah, we missed on this. We'd watched Mid-American Nazarene play this year and felt like, well, Grandview's just, they're head and shoulders above them. They're going to hold them down. Mid-American Nazarene's not going to run the ball against them. Their pass defense is going to hold them down. But the thing we didn't factor in was the human element, and that being the human element that Grandview is 18 to 23-year-old kids. They will make mistakes. They did have a couple turnovers early, and Mid-American Nazarene capitalized on that. So big credit to the Pioneers and the effort that they put out in this game to compete with the NAIA's best. They were seconds really away from winning this ball game, Pat. And so very impressed with the Pioneers, but also impressive the way the Vikings just kind of, brush the dirt off their shoulder. Well, we're down 14-0. Yeah, like 3.5 quarters left. We'll be fine. And they were.
You nailed this description of this game, Jason. And yeah, we missed it, but yeah, we really didn't, because I think the things that we said in the preview of this game really kind of came to fruition a little bit. The thing that we didn't anticipate is Grandview came out a little sloppy. I mean, gave short fields with 2 turnovers to the Pioneers. I mean, short fields, like I think, the first interception, Jackson Ware just didn't see a flat defender on a hitch route and gave him the football and had a return inside the 10-yard line. So a real short field, 10 yards and, inside the red zone for the first score for Mid-American Nazarene. And then the next drive, it was a jet sweep. They got bobbled and turned over. And it was like a 25-yard field. They're down 14-0. Now, with that being said, I'm going to give credit to Mid-American Nazarene. They still got to go score the red zone against Grandview, which is not an easy thing to do. But They did. They did a great job. I'm going to say this, and to kind of go back and say where our point, I think, was still valid, Jason, our preview, is Mid-American still didn't run the ball a lot and very well against Grandview, at least consistently.
Yeah.
And Jackson Waring had all day to throw the ball, too, so the pass rush was kind of null and void. So we were right at the line of scrimmage. The thing that I will say I thought Mid-American did a wonderful job with is made it more of a perimeter game, and they are very strong on the perimeter. I think the world of their receiving core. I thought Drew Miller was exceptional in this game. I thought he was very, very good. Had a couple turnovers. We'll talk about that in a second. But I thought the game plan for Mid-American was very, very strong. The way that they could win this game, I thought they attacked Grandview. And it was on the perimeter. The one-on-one options. I think the receivers won a lot of those battles one-on-one and made some big-time plays. And Miller made some throws against Grandview. I think if there's a blueprint maybe to move the ball against this great Viking defense, Mid-American showed some people how to do it. And it may be on the perimeter, Jason, kind of the one-on-one passing game. I thought it was done very, very well. And then thin that defense out enough with widespread formations. It's kind of like this. It's a new rage now with, it's like a wide veer now. It's a real wide formation. It's kind of thinning out the box as much as possible to give you some run lanes. Tennessee's doing it a lot now. So running some wider formations with run pass option game and things of that nature. But then you'd see Mid-American actually hit a run play every once in a while because they're thinning out the box so much. So you would see that occasionally. So I'm really impressed with their approach. Mid-American did a nice job offensively. But you just can't sustain it against a team like Grandview. Yeah. To go back now to Grandview, the strength of that unbelievable defense, the ball hawks are there. I mean, they just made play after play to get the ball back for Waring in this offense. I mean, there's a 50-50 ball, Jason. The ball's thrown. Grandview gets fingers on along with the Mid-American receiver, and Grandview pulls it away from the guy on the way down to the ground. Grandview football, turnover. I mean, it wasn't a bad decision by Miller. It's a great play by Grandview. We talk about it every week. Grandview's defense makes plays, gets the ball back, especially in advantageous areas of the field, back for Waring in that offense. It's unbelievable. I mean, they really do it all the time. And they did it in this game when they needed it most.
Grandview's defense is that defense where you go back and you watch the film and it's like, well, did we make a mistake or did they force that error? And there's so many games that, we throw that pass, we have that 50-50 ball, we come down with it every time, but against Grandview, you don't. Against Grandview, they tip it away. Against Grandview, that goes over the middle and it gets tipped out of the way, or the guy gets tackled immediately and doesn't get to the first down. But just the little things that Grandview has been very good at. Got a couple comments to get to on this one. Scores a surprise. Does this conference have any other teams that can compete with Grandview? Not left on the schedule. I mean, Grandview, maybe a little bit of a trap game next week. They've got Graceland. Beginning of the year, that game had a lot more woo to it than maybe what it does now, but Graceland does have a recent victory. Then they play Culver, Stockton, and Clark. So Grandview's cruising right now. And the other comment, Kaiser and Grandview should switch 1 and 2 in the rankings. No.
Not going to.
Not going to. And here's why. In the end, it doesn't matter. I mean, From the very bottom, the NAIA coaches top 25 and my top 25 does not matter. What really matters is the seeding. And if you're number 1 or number 2, it doesn't matter because you're going to host the entire way through the postseason. And that's the most important thing. 1 and 2 matter. That's what you want. And the 2 best teams in the NAIA are 1 and 2 right now. I don't think there's any argument there. You got Benedictine sitting at 3. And then you can start arguing, okay, is Tech 4, is Friends 4? They're tied right now in the coaches poll. But to answer the question, Grandview will have a little bit of a this week, maybe got to be ready for it. But no offense, Culver, Stockton, and Clark just ain't got the horses to compete with the Vikings. You put that on your highlight video.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, moving on. Who's our primetime player? Elijah McFadden, going to give it to the defense at Mid-American Nazarene. 11 solo tackles and a fumble recovery. The defense, they gave up 32 points to Grandview, but the defense for Mid-American Nazarene forcing turnovers early, putting MNU in a position where they can compete in this game late. We got to give it to somebody on the defense. We're giving it to Elijah McFadden. Our Chick-fil-A primetime performance for Grandview Mid-American Nazarene. Hey, speaking of highlight videos, Pat, you're famous. You said 8 seconds of bad about Campbellsville in a year and a half, and they clipped it and they put it on a highlight video.
Cool. I don't care.
I love it.
I love the Fighting Tigers, man. I'm actually kind of pissed about this, Jason, because I was
it's right here, man.
Like, come on, man. But I'm disappointed. I was rooting for him. I want to see, don't lose this one, man. I know you had a big one last week. It was a great win last week. Obviously, I think I had a lot to do with it. Apparently, I motivated the group. Apparently, from the hype video online. But yeah, this is What the heck happened here? I don't know.
Man,
didn't see this one coming for sure.
I was messaging back and forth with the coach, and he put it, very simply, a little bit of a hangover coming off of a big loss. The coaching staff and the kids are good enough to get by that, but Cumberland, Tennessee is a tough place to go in and play. It's a little bit, it's a grass field. They play a different style of ball there. Nobody ever is talking about the greatness of the Cumberland Phoenix, but nobody's ever talking about, the Cumberland Phoenix aren't bad. They're right. They're one of those middle teams. And it brings up a theme that we're going to have a little bit later on here on the program. We didn't spot it last week, but this was a trap game for Campbellsville. Campbellsville coming off of a top 10 win, going on the road to play a team that was 4-3 that, if you look at their games, they've been very competitive all year, despite the fact losing to an FCS program in week 0. Throw that out. That doesn't even count. They've been very good all season long, and they have a system that with a mobile quarterback that can throw it and run it and give you all sorts of fits. And that's kind of what happened here is Cumberland, put all the fight into the end, scored 23 points in the fourth quarter, came away with the victory here. That score is not correct on that slide. Holy cow. I'm bad at this. 35-33 is the final in this one. I can't even go over and change that. That's embarrassing. That's an embarrassing, do the math. That's not even close. That's what happens. Dana Education. That's why they closed. Anyway, 35-33 is the final in this one. Holy cow. Embarrassed by that, Pat.
Yikes.
It was, I thought Campbellsville played very well in this game. They got up and down the field. They threw the ball well. They had a chance to tie the game in the final seconds. They went for 2, obviously had to go for 2. They were down 33-35, unlike what that score says. And, ran a little play, had the sideline, had the pylon in the angle, and then wham, comes across, stops him a couple inches short of the goal line to get the victory. So Cumberland, a hard-fought victory. They're now 5-3. It's a really nice win for the Phoenix. And I think the one thing that we've talked about with Campbellsville all season long, and why you made a highlight video, we've questioned the defense and their ability to stop teams from scoring. And this is one of those games where you allowed somebody to score 35 points and it came back to bite you. You weren't able to outscore them in this game. And I don't think any less of Campbellsville. I still think they're a top program in the NAIA. I think they're going to be a postseason team that's going to make some noise if they can if they bounce back from this and they continue to play the way they have throughout the year. They're going to continue to be one of the best teams in the NAIA. But Pat, this was one of those trap games where it was a perfect situation for Cumberland to be sitting in.
Yeah, I think Campbell's is a great football team. We, despite popular belief, I guess, of what was clipped. I've sung this team's praises for some time, really over a year, and certainly have here recently with a great victory over Lindsey Wilson a week ago. And I still think the world of him. I love Jed Engel. I think he's fantastic. He had a great game in this game. But this could go a couple different ways here, Jason. They still have some tough games on the schedule here. They really do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this can't be a thing where you can wallow in pity here and feel sorry for yourself and this turn into, how do we finish the season? They're a good football team. They should absolutely bounce back, have this be a learning experience for them and say, okay, let's rally here, boys. Let's play great football the remainder of the season. Let's win out, get in the postseason and make some noise because they absolutely should do that. They're that good, in my opinion. And maybe get another crack at Lindsey Wilson. I mean, potentially, Matt, they beat Lindsey Wilson. I know. Yeah. Possibly seeing them again for another great battle, which we saw a week ago. That can possibly happen. So that being said, it's their choice, and this has to be a learning opportunity for that coaching staff. This is going to be a great challenge for them. How are we going to treat this? Okay, we lost a game. We gave up 23 points in the fourth quarter. Not good enough. I mean, we're a good football team. We know what we just accomplished. We beat the team a week ago, a rival who probably had the best resume in the NAIA. I mean, truthfully.
Yeah.
They had the 100%. Best resume of the season up until that point in the NAIA. Unbelievable, right? And we beat them. Did a great job. We beat them. And then we do this, okay? What can we learn from? Okay, let's look at the fourth quarter. These are things we can fix defense. These are things we can do better offensively. All right? Okay, this can't happen again. We're too good. We have unbelievable opportunities in the future for us. We're good enough to really make a deep run, to make some noise in this affiliation. We have to learn from this.
Yeah, Campbellsville goes on the road to Faulkner this week. That's not an easy win there. I mean, granted, Faulkner kind of got the doors blown off by Lindsey Wilson, but Faulkner has played very well this year. And then they've got a home game against Bethel University, who's been up and down, but still quality football team. And then final game of the year, they go to Georgetown College to play. So they've got three tough ones in front of them. They can respond. But, if they come out of that 3-0, I would say that's the team that we've been talking about this year, a postseason team that is on the edge of being an elite team of NAIA football. They just have to, go out and prove it now. Jake Parker gets our primetime performance from Blue Diamond Almonds in this game. 22 of 34, 289 yards and a touchdown, 16 carries, 139 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns. That is a great dual threat performance from Jake Parker and the Cumberland Phoenix.
Jason, two more seconds on Campbell's. I want to bring this up.
Let's do
those 3 games that they have left, I think are a great test for Campbellsville. They really are, because I think that gets them prepared for the postseason. If they, like you said, they can go 3-0, I don't think there's a better schedule for them really kind of ramping up for a playoff run. I mean, there's some great challenges there. First one's a long trip against a very talented team, Faulkner, right? I mean, that's a good 6-7 hour trip. That's a long trip, which could possibly happen in the postseason. They'll get you ready for that. You're going to play an athletic team that has players. There's no question about it. All right. Then you got Bethel, which all can play. They're kind of Mr. Jekyll or Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, right?
Mr. Hyde,
never know what you're going to get, but they're certainly can play really, really good. There's no question about it. And then Georgetown, they're always a pain, always tough at Georgetown. So I think if you're Campbellsville, you have an unbelievable opportunity to take these 3 games and kind of look at it and say, guys, what an opportunity for us to really play good football to prepare us for an opportunity still at the conference championship, because we have the tiebreaker against Lindsey Wilson. Let's win the conference championship by taking care of one at a time, obviously, but these 3. And what an opportunity for us to build off these 3 games going into the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a great opportunity to go out and get better each and every week and be really ready for the postseason. And we just, talked about the Grandview schedule. I'm sure Grandview would like to have this sort of schedule to go up against, rather than you play Graceland this week, then you've got Culver, Stockton, and Clark. And again, no offense to them, those games are not going to prepare you for the NAIA Championship Series and what is to come there. Victory Sports Network NAIA Football Top 25 comes out tomorrow morning, 4 a.m., depending on where you are in this great country. So go ahead and wait up all night on victorysportsnetwork.com to check that out. I've already got it done, got it released. or not really released, but got it on the web ready to go. I've got a couple changes in around there, and I made a decision with Marion that may upset some people not associated with Marion, but I felt like their win yesterday deserved a little bit more of a jump, and I felt like some of those teams that were around them, based upon their loss and then a loss that happened this week, it made me go, we're going to do some switching there. So we'll see how it goes. Taking a look at the coaches' top 25, this is how things shaped up last week. Your top 5, Grandview gets the win, Kaiser gets the win, Benedictine. How about that? And Montana Tech, the same. Mayville's been having a really nice season, Pat. But I've watched Mayville play in person in a game this year, and they don't have a big offensive line. They don't have a big defensive line. They don't have an offense that is going to, sling it and be able to get you scores quickly. They're a methodical team. This was a nightmare matchup for them in Montana Tech, who was bigger than them on the offensive and defensive line. Tech got out to points quickly, and then there's just no coming back from that.
Yeah. We've talked a lot lately, Jason, about Benedictine and Montana Tech. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Kind of flying under the radar here the last few weeks. So I know there's some big things down the road for both of them. And we think highly of them, obviously still in the top 5 and have had huge wins this season. But yeah, kind of not talked a lot about them lately.
Moving on, Campbellsville has the loss to Cumberland. Dort squeaks by Midland. It was a game that I watched bits and pieces of it. I was never afraid for Dort to lose that game, even when Midland was kind of doing the onside kick, because they're still up 17-14 at that point. And then Lindsey Wilson with the 48-10 win over Faulkner. That's kind of the look at this part of the top 10. Any thoughts on it, Pat?
No, I mean, I think, Dort is sitting here undefeated. There's some big things down the road for them. Hastings is a tough challenge, Jason. I mean, that's one they've got to get ready for. Hastings has kind of been a thorn in a lot of team sides this season, have been competitive all year. And we talked about before the Campbellsville. I mean, it's going to be a tough challenge. I know Lindsey Wilson just blew the doors off Faulkner, but still, that's a tough trip. Not going to be easy for the Tigers.
11 through 15, Morningside gets the win over Concordia in a game that we were kind of thinking was going to be maybe a game of the week, but Morningside just the better team in this one. Indiana Wesleyan beats Defiance as expected, and Southwestern had the loss to Friends. Moving on, NAIA After Dark last night. College of Idaho and Eastern Oregon. This game was 0-0 with like 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I was kind of, this game's finally going. I need to watch it because I update the top 20. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I
was dozing off. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was dozing off.
Yeah. I was. I wanted to watch the game because it was the last game in the top 25 to be played. I could update the score, get my final updates on the web, and then go to bed and sleep in. And I had all my stuff done, but I was waiting for it to get done, and I was kind of hoping like College of Idaho was going to jump out and be like, all right, cool. I ain't got anything to worry about here. And we're down to the last 2 minutes. And you kind of wonder, like, if Eastern Oregon doesn't try to kick a long 49-yard field goal and get it blocked and then return for a score, are we going to OT 0-0 and duking it out? Because it certainly looked that way.
It still might be going on.
Yeah. It was a win for College of Idaho. That's what they can come away and say, hey, we got to win. But, a lot of teams have gone to Eastern Oregon and not put up many points this year. I mean, Valley City won a game there 3-0 this year. The rest of the top 20, Montana Western blows the doors off of Simpson as expected, 65-0 there. The final part of the coaches' top 25, William Penn beats Clark. McPherson gets the big win over St. Mary. And then Texas Wesleyan defeats Langston. Langston led in this game, Pat. They led early on. I think they threw for 467 yards and 5 touchdowns in this game. And their wide receiver, can't remember his name now, he had 4 touchdowns and like 218 yards. So Texas Wesleyan giving up some points in this one. And they got the victory. It's a nice win. But Texas Wesleyan, like there was a moment in this game where you're like, oh, Langston's going to beat Texas Wesleyan.
Well, they didn't.
Good point. I mean, they won.
Yep, they won. Yep. I don't know.
So here's what I'm landing on as the games of the week, and it's really all within, one conference, technically, the KCAC and the Mid-States Football Association. You got McPherson at Southwestern. You've got Kansas Wesleyan going to Friends. You got Indiana Wesleyan at Taylor University. And you got Olivet Nazarene going to St. Francis. These are the games I feel like have the biggest implications towards the postseason. They might not end up being the best games, but I think in terms of like, hey, if this team wins, it puts them in a better position. Like, these are the games that you have to look at. What are your thoughts, Pat?
No, you're spot on. I mean, I think there's a lot of kind of we talked about with Southeastern and St. Thomas. When you're in, there's a lot of that. Kind of the number 2 guys, like for instance, like Olivet and St. Francis. Obviously, I'm close to that one. You win, you're in. I'm assuming so. That's I think will be the case.
Yeah. You win and you win out, and you're in.
Well, that's the crucial part of it also. I'm seeing that. I don't think that's necessarily the case for Taylor and Indiana Wesleyan, but I think Taylor can certainly not even be a spoiler, because I think Indiana Wesleyan gets in regardless, because they're going to win essentially the East of the Mid-States. But I will say
not if Taylor wins this game. Both of them are currently undefeated in the East.
Yeah, that's right.
So if Taylor wins this, they get the tiebreak over Indiana Wesleyan. So that's why I threw this up there. Not a lot of people realize, like, hey, we're in conference play now. Taylor gets the win. Taylor's undefeated. Taylor could drop a game in the league and still have the tiebreaker over Indiana Wesleyan.
It's a good point.
I'm
still thrown off that these, like, St. Francis is not in the same league as Taylor and Indiana Wesleyan.
Yeah,
it throws me off. I'm sorry.
I'm with you, man.
Weird. Like, literally, Taylor University is 45 minutes from my house, and Indiana Wesleyan's an hour. It's just weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, you're right. Absolutely. And honestly, I'll say this, Jason. I mean, I know Indiana Wesleyan's been around for less than a decade, but like, these schools are literally 20 minutes apart. Very similar type of schools. They're faith-based institutions. They're rivals in everything, including football. And I think Taylor beat them maybe the first year of football Indiana Wesleyan had, and have not beat them since. This could get interesting. And I'm telling you right now, the old Taylor Trojans are going to give them everything they got. They're going to come out swinging. So I think this can be a great football game. Going to be very, very interesting. And I will say this: if it's in Upland, that is in Upland, right? Is it at Taylor?
Yep, it is in Upland.
Okay.
I don't believe I made a mistake this time.
I think that's going to be a distinct advantage for Taylor.
Yeah.
They're close. I know that, but something about playing in Upland is an advantage for Taylor. So, they have a puncher's chance, man. I'm not saying they're going to win this game. I wouldn't bet this game. At the same time, I guarantee it's something you got to keep your eye on for sure. It's a rivalry.
And the other thing to talk about in the Mid-States Football Association Mid-East League, Siena Heights also 2-0 right now.
Yeah.
So Siena Heights, Taylor, and Indiana Wesleyan all undefeated. The winner of this one obviously is going to be in the driver's seat. They still had to beat Siena Heights, but that would be like who would be getting the automatic. So that's what intrigues me the most about this game. I think Indiana Wesleyan's going to win it. I think it'll be a closer game than some would maybe think to begin with. But Taylor could be Taylor and go up there and shock the world. So it's going to be interesting there. In the KCAC, McPherson and Southwestern, I really feel like, that's a game where the winner of that is probably making the NAIA postseason as an at-large. The loser of that game, unfortunately, you're probably out of it, because both will have lost to Friends. And then if McPherson loses, they'll have lost to Southwestern. Southwestern, their other loss to Evangel is technically to the winner of the other KCAC division, who will be a postseason qualifier. So that helps them. So I think McPherson Southwestern is going to be a great game. With that being at Southwestern, I really think the Mound Builders have got a chance to, quote, get the upset, because technically by ratings, it would be an upset. But I think McPherson finds a way in that game, Pat.
Do you? Okay. I find that one to be really intriguing too. I want to talk to you about Friends in Kansas Wesleyan.
Let's talk about Friends, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things.
I think it's like 3 weeks in a row that you've sang on this show. So
I don't care.
Can Kansas Wesleyan, who is the team in this conference that presents the biggest defensive issues to this system? because we've kind of like looked every single week. It seems like Friends has been the game of the week than their opponent every single week. It seems like, right? Because who can give them fits? Who can do it?
Yep.
Who can do it? We don't know. Was it Bethel on there? I mean, we've had, who was it recently? It's like 3 weeks in a row they've been on the game of the week.
Yeah. They had Southwestern this week.
Southwestern
they had McPherson the week before that.
Right.
And then they had Evangel before that. So
right.
it's like,
Evangel.
Can this team, can they, their defense stop the run? Like, are we saying the same thing this week? Can Kansas Wesleyan stop the run? Just repeat the same argument again.
Like, the thing is like, they all have film on how they're trying to stop it. Does Kansas K-Dub look at it and say, okay, this is what McPherson did. This is when maybe it didn't work or elements did work. And like, you're just going to steal ideas. I don't know. Like, it's so challenging.
Here's the thing that I look at, and I couldn't tell you, and I've seen players on Kansas Wesleyan. I've watched some of their games this year. I don't know if they have the horses to shut it down, but I think they've got the scheme. I think they've got the mindset. And I say that because Matt Middleton, the new head football coach at Kansas Wesleyan, came from Harding, a Division II school that was primarily run the football option team like Friends. They were the Friends of Division II. So he has seen this offense. He's seen everything about this offense. He's seen what can stop it, what can do it. So I think from a scheme perspective, Kansas Wesleyan will be as prepared as anybody has been prepared for Friends this year, with maybe the exception of McPherson, because McPherson had the bye week 2 weeks ago when they played. But I think in terms of coaching them up, I think the Yotes are going to be coached up in this one. They're going to be in a great position by the end of the week to potentially knock off Friends. But I go back to my original argument of I've watched Kansas Wesleyan this year. They've got some really good football players. They've got some dudes that stand out on the defensive side of the ball. They've been running the ball well this year. Do they have a complete defense that can shut down the 9 different running backs it seems like Friends has to throw at you, and each of them with a different running style and a different way to get up the field? Do they have that? I don't think so. So I'm sticking with Friends in this game, but that's why I made it the game of the week, or one of the games of the week, because hey, nobody's talked about Kansas Wesleyan this year. They're 6-2. They win this game. They're 7-2. And all of a sudden it's like, holy cow, like that side of the KCAC has got McPherson, Southwestern, Friends, and Kansas Wesleyan, all playoff caliber teams, and probably only 2 of them would make it in.
Time will tell. We'll see.
Yes. There we go.
We will see.
So these are the 4 best games for the reasons that we just talked about them. You got a conference championship, potentially in the one game. You got 2 teams that are still fighting for their playoff life right there between Olivet Nazarene and St. Francis. The winner's got a shot to make it in. You've got McPherson fighting for the playoffs. You've got Kansas Wesleyan looking to get the upset to get back into postseason talk. That's why I think these are the best games. But as I earlier mentioned on the show, Campbellsville and Cumberland played in a trap game, and we should have saw it coming a mile away. It's a trap. Do you get the reference, Pat?
No.
It's not a Star Wars guy?
I've never seen Star Wars.
Okay. Well, that's Admiral Akbar. And in this scene, they're talking, they're doing the whole thing, and they do it's a trap. And so we're talking about the
Do you find it odd I've never seen Star Wars?
No, actually, I know you. I actually think what I expected was, I saw it once as a kid, and but the fact you have not seen Star Wars is of zero surprise to me.
No, you know me. It's funny. But my son today was practicing his trumpet, and he has to play the Star Wars theme for his band concert. Yeah.
Now, the real Star Wars nerd would be like, well, which one? Are we doing the Imperial March, or are we doing the bum, 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 that one?
No.
Oh, that's the Star Wars theme, not the Imperial March. Imperial March was the Imperial March slaps.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know. I have a funny line for you that I always respond to people that look at me like I have something growing out of my ears, and I told them I've never seen Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't say I've never seen Star Wars. I've seen it on the screen as I'm in a room.
Yeah.
Then I quickly go the other direction.
Yeah. I'm good.
Usually it's I'm good. But I'm good. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Are you going to say your funny line? Or
I can't say it on air. It's something off air. can't be said here.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, I love it. I love it. All right. So these are to get us back on track. These are the
Off the
trap
rails.
games.
Off
Yeah,
the
a
rails.
little bit off the rails. These are the trap games. And these are the reasons why. Hey, Northwestern, they're 4-3. They're feeling good about themselves. They got to go to Midland. They're back in the top 25. That's a trap. Peru State, they just had a loss. They've had 2 losses in a row. How did they lose to Graceland? Man, they were playing so well against Grandview. William Penn's at home. William Penn's thinking, hey, man, like we're sitting number 2 in this conference. Like we win out. We got a shot at the postseason. And they're playing Peru State, who we know to be a pretty good team. That's a trap. Rocky Mountain's 3-4. They've played Montana Tech earlier this season, Pat. Montana Tech won by a couple scores, but it was a pretty hard-fought game. And Rocky Mountain, their last 3 wins have all come in the Frontier Conference East. So undefeated in the Frontier Conference East is Montana Tech and Rocky Mountain. Rocky Mountain wins this game. They are in control of the Frontier Conference East in a potential postseason berth. That's a trap. You don't think so. Dordt goes to Hastings. We mentioned that earlier. Dordt just 17-14 win over Midland. They've been flying high. They're maybe peeking around the corner a little bit. Oh, we got, who's that? Is that Morningside over there? I think we got Morningside over there, don't we? Uh-oh. Hastings knocked off Northwestern. That's a trap. Georgetown's feeling good. Idle last week. Got to sit in the ice tub a little bit, heal up the injuries, do some stretching, fine-tune some things, make them feel better. They're going to Bethel, who just got the doors blown off them by Cumberland's. You got to travel to McKenzie, Tennessee, Pat. It's a bit of a road trip. That's a trap. That's a trap.
Careful the hotels.
Yes. And
Watch
then
out.
you got Carroll College, who also coming off of a bye week, having to make the long trip over to Ashland, Oregon, to play Southern Oregon, who's been down this year. Big expectations for the Red Raiders. We thought they'd be competing for a Frontier Conference title. Yeah, things haven't gone their way. Injuries and the like and everything else. Just hasn't been the Red Raiders' year. But the Red Raiders can take that pennant right here. We beat Carroll this year. Long road trip, coming off a bye week. That, Pat, is also a trap. What do you think of the trap games? Am I right? Am I wrong? What do you think?
I think you're spot on. Absolutely. There's a lot of traps out there. Peru State, they can literally score. They can kick a field goal in a game, or they can score 70. We've seen both.
Yeah.
Like we can't figure them out, right?
That game could be 56-49. I don't know. Like, I don't need to say who would win. 56-49, who knows? Or William Penn might win it 42-10.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Peru State's been really that inconsistent. And when they're here, they're scary, man. But when they're here, they lose to Grace.
Can't figure them out at all. And they can literally not score, and then they can score in bunches. It doesn't make any sense at all. Hastings is a team that seems like they're competitive with everyone. Every week. Southern Oregon, we think the world of the coaching staff. We know they're well coached. They've had kind of just terrible luck this year. Kind of just the way things have shaken out. But I'm telling you right now, they're going to get up for this one. I'll bet my life on it. It's a home game, which we know in Ashland they're even tougher to play against. So that's interesting. I totally agree with you on that. Bethel, I mean, kind of feel the same way about Bethel as I do a little bit not like Peru necessarily, kind of like somewhere between Peru and maybe Hastings in that, they have their moments, right? They have their moments where it's they can put some things together and look like a pretty good football team. Then they have what happened there. It doesn't make any sense.
Bethel looks like a program, the team that has got a new head coach that's putting the things in that they want to do, that hasn't reached the level of consistency that they want yet, but you can see the things are there and that this is going to be a good program, or still continue to be a good program down the road. They're just in year one of the Springer era there. I think that's what we've got. Yeah.
And I guarantee they have dudes. I've not watched a lot of Bethel yet this year.
No, me neither.
And that's a place that attracts players. I mean, they've always had them. No question about it. So that's scary if you're Georgetown and it's at Bethel. It's a tough place to play. So it's a tough place to find a room. I'm telling you.
all the way back from the Dino days.
Dino Cackless.
Dino Cackless. Brent Dearman, coach there. Coach
Dearman.
Jasper, he was just there. Michael Jasper. They've had a great string of coaches that have come through McKenzie, Tennessee. I haven't seen how Dearman's doing at Northern Alabama this year. I follow him on Twitter, but I don't pay enough attention.
Doing quite well. I'm the worst following the FCS. Who won the big game up in your neck of the woods the other day? I didn't pay attention.
Game? There was a game?
North Dakota State.
North Dakota State and South Dakota State played one another. I wouldn't call it a game. Roll Herd, baby.
Oh, did they smoke them? I didn't pay attention.
I don't know. That's what everybody up here says, and I have to go along with it because I don't want to get ran out of town.
Yeah, I even know who won. I have no idea.
Yeah. So those are the trap games that we're looking at. That's kind of our thoughts on it. I got to look it up now.
I have no clue.
Northern Alabama 2-6 right now. 2-6.
Okay.
Tough. Win over Northeastern in Eastern Kentucky. Just lost to Austin Peay this last week. They got Utah Tech on the schedule. Ooh. Utah Tech, West Georgia, Tarleton State, and Southern Utah. Southern Utah, coached by Delane Fitzgerald. Delane Fitzgerald coached in the Victory Sports Network NAIA Senior Classic back in the day. He was an assistant head coach at Southern Virginia University before they went D3.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just throwing things out
there. What did the Bison?
We're in overtime. I guess we could just go ahead and say at this point.
So what did the Bison and the Jackrabbits do yesterday? I don't even know.
What was it, like 38-14, 38-7?
Bison?
I mean, it was Bison won.
It'd say Bison too, like the Z. That's like
Bison, not Bison. You say Bison, we know you're an outsider.
Yeah, you get punched in the head. Okay.
Like me being an outsider. What was the final in that? I got it on my thing here.
Yeah,
38-7.
I forgot to look it up.
Yeah, 38-7. I mean,
Bison
much
rolling.
ballyhooed. Yeah, I mean, and South Dakota State is a quality FCS program, man.
It's 1 versus 2, right?
1 versus 2, 38-7. Like you kind of start going like, oh, they're gonna get another one this year, aren't they? You kind of get that feeling. I don't know who's going to beat them, but
they are a wagon, no doubt.
So we go into the overtime segment here. Man, we've already hit an hour too, so we don't have a whole lot more to go. I did have for the love of the NAIA for you this week. I had a coach text me.
Let's go. I'm so excited.
Yes.
Because I have a ton of stories. It's true. And I'm saving. I've kind of pulled a couple out of the vault. I have shared a few, but I have a couple others, but I want to hear some of our loyal listeners.
I haven't been on social media much lately. I won't say who this is from because we said we'd keep them anonymous.
Yeah.
I haven't been on social media much lately because we're trying to get a win, but I got a couple good ones for you on the road NAI problems. 3 straight trips with bus breakdowns, including this last trip, having to rent a U-Haul to get the rest of our gear there with 2 coaches driving and 2 farmers from a nearby small town having to fix our bus.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's
like, yep.
Yeah.
We all remember doing that.
So in today's day and age, you would think like there would be like a reputable like bus company that would have like kind of it all figured out. Like I will tell you, like in my bus experiences, and we've had a few, but locally here in Fort Wayne, we had a great company that just seemed like always had like a plan B and plan C ready. They were pretty good. And we had some things break down. We had a bus breakdown, but like as soon as it happened, they were on the horn right away. And here comes the other bus. They're coming right away to come pick us up. And we literally switched buses on the highway. It happened. But yeah, like when you're in a situation where you're in the middle of, a rural part of wherever, and you find some good old dairy farmers, probably place like the Dannelly farm somewhere. Yeah. I'm not saying this is in Nebraska. I have no idea. I have no idea who this person is, but you find the Dannelly farm.
Yeah.
And they've got the proper tools. And they've got the wherewithal to work with, a bus motor.
Bus rolls up and it's broke down. I have no doubt that my dad or my grandpa, we could get it going. We could get it running. I'm not sure how far down the road it would get, but we could get things running with some baling wire, some duct tape, a couple vice grips, maybe an Allen wrench. Yeah, baling, like whatever we got to do, man. And we'll make it happen. It's you're definitely going to want to get it fixed by a professional afterwards, but we can get it running. Yeah.
You know what's funny to me, Jason, and this is
Yeah.
like kind of along the lines of what we're talking about. And I love that story. That's such a great story. So coach, whoever sent that, just fantastic. And there's so many stories like that. Like the 3 consecutive weeks. So he said it was multiple bus issues that broke down. My goodness.
Yep.
Probably the same bus too. It's probably the same one, like, you know, each
same
week.
bus company where they go, no, we got it fixed. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
We had our top guy working on it all week. It's good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying.
It's a diesel.
Yeah, right. I'm trying to think, Jason. I think probably at this point, the Dannelys and the Donleys. By the way, I'm pretty sure we're related back in the old country.
Yeah,
but at what point? So I think I'm 6th generation from the Great Emerald Isle. You're probably roughly the same, I would guess.
We're deeper than that. The first Dannelys are traced back to 1797.
Really?
If not the 1750s. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
My family tree. Yeah. But you go ahead. I'll tell you the thing I found out.
Well, I was just going to try to figure out, like, so you've been here in the States longer than we have. So we're like, you know, Civil War, famine, Irish, like, most people are. So we got here, but it's like, and we had all those skills from the old country, the farming, the craftsmanship. Our family were stonemasons and farmers. Like they had actual skills. Then somehow over the years, we've lost all those skills. like Kevin Donley can't do anything, and nor can Pat Donley. Like we can't do anything. And my uncle can't do anything. Like we're all like just like football coaches and white collar guys now. Like we can't do, like I respect the Dannelly family, who are probably our distant relatives back in the old country, that have still those qualities, those the skills to be able to repair things and fix things and farm and pull something out of the earth and raise cattle and like all the things you guys can do. But how, like, where do we go wrong?
Somehow. I don't know. I think my family, we just got comfortable doing the same thing. Like if you go back through the generation, it was, farmer and had some sort of cattle, whether it be milking or raising beef, farmer and had this, and then like a little bit of carpentry on the side. Like my grandfather built like 4 or 5 houses, including the one I grew up in. And you just keep going back through the years. Like I've done the whole ancestry.com and you look at it, it's like, oh, look, another generation of farmers. Oh, look, another generation of farmers. Oh, look, like my generation is the first generation of non-farmers. I work in ag for my full-time job, but like my brother doesn't farm. My sister doesn't farm. Like we are the first generation where none of us are farming land and passing it down to a generation. So I broke the mold, man. I'm trying to be like you.
I guess. You know what's crazy though? Like where we were in Springfield, Ohio, where my dad is from.
Yes.
That's where the Donleys are from. They came there from Ireland. So you go to like all the city parks, like literally the entire area, all of like the archways, the courthouses, they were all built by the Donleys. Like they had skills to cut the stone and build these amazing, archways and buildings and stuff. Yeah, I can't do any of that. I can change a tire.
So what's funny, after we got together, I got on the old ancestry.com and I was going back, and there were Dannelys in the Springfield, Ohio area, like in like that 1850 to 1880 realm before they moved on. So, I mean, were they the Donley, were they writing letters vaguely related? Like this was some distant cousin and we're coming here and this is the job they're doing. And then they eventually moved on. I think, man, because like, that's too common to see my family and the generations like end up in that area of Ohio and then go to Illinois and Nebraska and places like that after all of that.
We could probably trace it. It's probably true. Because the other thing too is like in my research and all that, in the census documents, because my ancestors probably didn't speak English very well. They spoke Gaelic. They're the northwestern part. And then on top of that, they probably didn't read or write very well. So the names got spelled differently in the census documents every time. Every time, like every 10 years, they did the census record. It got spelled differently. So the name Donnelly does not exist in Ireland. It's Donn, just like your name is spelled, the Donnelly, right? So that's the way it should be spelled. So
and really over there it would be O'Donnelly is what it would be. And then the same thing happened. Yeah, the same thing happened with our name. You go through. I look at some of the old census things, like it's Donley, Dannley, Danlee. Like it changed, and somehow it's this spelling that every time I have to give my email address to somebody, I'm like, okay, it's
That's what it's like.
D as in dog, A, N as in Nancy, N as in Nancy, E, and then they always come back. Okay, so DAN, ELLEY. I'm like, no, nowhere close. You weren't listening to me at
Right.
all.
We got to think the census documentation back then was a guy literally handwriting this.
Yeah.
What it was.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and that was the word. So
And
anyway,
and if he was being lazy that day, he's like, nah, your family's losing some letters today.
yeah, these people eat potatoes all the time. Like, I'm not gonna listen to these people.
They're not going to know.
Right.
They're not
Anyway,
gonna know. Go raise a potato. Anyway, this is
Off
why
the
we
rails.
call this overtime.
off the rails. Here we
Completely
go.
off the rails. I love it. So we've got some great NAIA football games happening this upcoming weekend. Looking forward to obviously those 4 key games that we pointed out, the trap games. And then, Pat, we could go through the schedule 50 times, look at who everybody is playing, and there's going to be something that's going to happen this week, and we're going to go, well, you're going to send me one of those text messages of, what happened to so-and-so, and I'm going to be like, I don't know, man.
We won't talk about the languages I used, but yes.
Or how I respond back.
Yeah, right. You keep it G-rated. But yeah,
Yeah,
what happened there? What are they doing? So.
The leaked text messages of Pat and Jason would well, we wouldn't get fired from this. We'd be able to keep doing this. We might lose some viewers, might gain some viewers. I don't know. It's people like that.
We work blue.
Gets the people going.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Maybe next week we are gonna do the bulletin board material round. I think we're gonna
just go through every game and just bash on one of them.
Just bash both teams to give them bulletin board material.
Yeah, right.
I love it. All right. Anything else, buddy, before we wrap things up?
We love the NAIA. Okay. We love the programs. We've literally, to use my overused term, which I heard you use today too in the pre-show, we pump the tires of these teams, right? We love them.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, guys. But hey, if we can give you any type of that one little snippet, and if you take whatever we say and whatever context that you hear it and want to snip it down and use it as motivation for your programs, hey, have at it, man.
Yeah.
Have at it.
We'll do a quick one here, Pat. Just follow my lead a little bit. All right. So everybody out there, all you video editors out there, get ready to clip this part, and you can just say we're talking about our team. I mean, they're garbage. They're not good, Pat. I just don't see how they're going to get it done. This coaching staff, they're not good. Their players are ill prepared. They ain't got the athletes to win this week, Pat.
Can't match up, Jay. Can't match up at all. Probably not even close to matching up.
End clip. There you go. Just put that in your highlight video. Whoever you are out there, you can use it as motivation.
Insert program.
And then we'll do the opposite. Like, man, they're really good. No, kidding. Just clip us up. Clip us up. Put us in your videos. We love it. It's more exposure, baby. It's more eyes. It's more eyes seeing the Victory Sports Network taking over the NAIA.
Dannelly.
Ooh, yeah, brother.
Donnelly.
Ooh, Stanley. I need my sunglasses, man. Do the whole Macho Man. Oh, yeah, brother. It's Dannelly and Donley. Gonna pop.
Hey, you know what else? Never watched wrestling either.
True. You know who Macho Man is, though, right?
I do. He's Canadian.
Okay.
Yeah. I never watch wrestling either. Never swear. You know what it is? I don't like anything fake.
That's true.
I'm a history guy, man. I like real stuff.
You are.
Yeah. Anyway, that's why I don't like sci-fi. So there you go.
There. All right. We're gonna do this. We're gonna wrap it up. That's Pat Donley. I'm Jason Dannelly. This has been NAIA Football with Donley and Donley. We are back next weekend at 7:00 Eastern, 6:00 Central, right here where you're watching us now. So be sure to check us out and get out there this week and enjoy some NAIA football. See you, everybody.